City of Angels email account on our Gmail account so we can do something called send as. In other words, when an email comes into my account, I'm going to check that email, and if it came in via cityofangelsigcc.org, then I'll be able to reply to the person as if I'm sending from cityofangelsigcc.org, even though I'm still using my Gmail account. In this case, it's my usd21.org Gmail account, or Google account, as it were. So first things first, I got an email, an activation email, saying that from cPanel on City of Angels here, that I have client configuration settings. So I'm going to open that. I see my username. I know what my password is. You know what? Sometimes for passwords, just as a side note, I'll open up a notepad, and in that notepad, I'll type my password so I can see it and know that I'm actually entering in my password, if that makes sense. Because I like to copy and paste it, but I digress. So I have my settings. I'm going to open up another instance or another tab here and go to my settings in Gmail. So here's my settings, this gear over here on the far right. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to look at the bottom, looking for all settings. Let's see, manage, see all settings right here at the top. Now, there's this tab, these are tabs up here, right? I'm going to go to accounts and import. And you could see that I have some other send mail as set up, right? I'm going to add another email address. So you probably won't have any of these, but I will add another email address. Oh, here's another setting that'll come into play later. When replying to a message, right? I can reply from the same address the message was sent to. So in our case, it's going to be, Jeremy at cityofangelsigcc.org. So I'm going to change that so we can demonstrate it. It mentions too, my preferences have been saved down here. So as soon as you change something, it updates it. You don't have to click a save button, in other words. So I'm going to add another email address. And so now it's asking me, okay, tell us about it. Now I'm going to go back to the window I was looking at earlier. This one, right? This is my previous email window that I was looking at. And I'm going to enter the information as I see it here in this window. So this is the email that has my info. So let's see, the email address, I'm just going to copy and paste. And Jeremy at, boom, okay. And I'm going to say treat as an alias because I want to be able to reply as Jeremy at cityofangelsigcc.org, okay. My next step. Okay, so it's got to make sure that I own it. So it's going to send me a link, right, to ensure that I actually own this address. So I'm going to click send verification. Now I've got to go and check my new email account, right? So I'm going to log into that email account. So when I got my new email set up, I had them send me the information about my new email to my other account, my USD21 account. And so, welcome to your new account here, right? And then I get a link in this to change my password. So I've got my notepad out and I've got my password already figured out off screen. And I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to open this link, right? Oh, I've already went through this process. So, oops. Well, if you go through this screen, it's very straightforward. This little change your password interface. where you put your password in and then confirm it, and then you click OK, and then it redirects you to the mail service. Oh, is it 96? I think it's 96. Let's see. Yeah. So you'll be redirected to this webmail login, and you'll enter your credentials here, right? I've already done this, so like I said earlier, I copy and paste my password. And then I'll be presented with like these different options. I'm not going to cover all this stuff. You can read about this stuff. There's a lot of things you can do here. Like if you wanted to, you could set up your forwarders here. And a forwarder basically means that when you get an email at your City of Angels email, you can set it up to forward to a USD21 or another personal Gmail or however you want to set it up. But for me, I just want to be able to see my inbox. So I'm going to click open. Right. Now, another thing you want to do, just out of prudence, you probably want to make sure that you bookmark this. So I would say, from this here, you probably want to bookmark this so you know how to get to this login. Right. So in the future, you can get to it easily. Otherwise, you're going to forget. Going to port 2096 is not it. It's not a normal thing for us to do, like website and then port 2096. That's atypical. So you probably want to just drag it to your bookmarks bar. This is not going to be applicable on a phone. We'll get to that in a moment, or perhaps in another video. But now that I've got my, email access. Remember, I'm trying to set up this, right? Just a moment ago, we were working on this here, right? So I'm wanting to add another email address, and I went through the process of entering this information earlier in the video. I had to take a break, and I came back and like, okay, let me look at my webmail and see what, like. Okay, here we go. Let me look at okay, so here's send mail as. So this is like telling me, so this is what my Google account sent me, right? This is the confirmation, right? And so I'm going to click on this to confirm, right? So now this is letting me know, okay, so you can confirm. Okay, let me confirm. So when I go back to my configuration efforts here, it's just confirming that, okay? So I'm going to go back to my Gmail account. And technically, it's been set up so I can send mail as. So I'm going to look into all settings. I'm just making sure at this point. So I'm going back to all settings in my USD. For me, this is my USD21 account. It might be something else for you, okay? And I'm going to accounts and import. And here's that send mail as we looked at earlier. And I'm like, okay, here it is. Very cool. So, right, I can send mail as Jeremy at City of Angels. So now I can send and receive email that way. There's a couple things I can do at this point. I can forward using the webmail interface. I could go back to setting up forwarders here, right? And I could set a forward up that forwards this to my USD21 email account. So this is one solution, right? So I'm adding that forwarder. Now I'm going to open, so I just added a forwarder. So what that means is anytime email comes into Jeremy at cityofangelsicc.org, this is going to forward to this email. It's going to bounce it straight to that. Now, the thing is it's going to stay, so the email is going to stay, whatever it is, in cityofangelsicc.org. So the bucket that holds my cityofangelsicc.org emails is still going to have that email in it. It's not going to forward the email out of cityofangelsicc.org and send it to my USD21, emptying it from here. So it's still going to be in the cityofangelsicc.org email bucket, so to speak. The account's still going to have the email on it. I'm going to run a test to show what this looks like. So I'm opening up my Merlinks at Live account, and I'm going to send an email, right? Here we go. To Jeremy. Oops. Can't type today. Jeremy. Okay, here we're at cityofangelsicc.org. Testing, forwarding. Testing. All right. So let's send it. Poof. Okay, so I just sent that email. Now what's happening is that's my live.com account, which is what we're looking at, just sent an email to this inbox, right? It's going to take some time for the mail to traverse. It doesn't happen instantaneously. It'll be here quickly, though. So it got sent to Jeremy at cityofangelsicc.org, so from my live account. And it's going to be forwarded to Jeremy at ust21.org. So I'm looking here at my, let's see, inbox. Okay. Let's see if I have anything new. So it's not arrived yet. It might end up in the spam. Let me see. Just in case, right? Always check. Nope. Okay. Let's do that. Since I'm here. Okay. All right. So I got the email. I just needed to refresh it. So this is an email from my Merlinks at Live account that went to cityofangelsicc.org, my account there, and that account forwarded it to my USD21 email. It's just a forwarding process. However, it's still in the inbox here, right? So I have a copy of it still in cityofangelsicc.org. That's setting up forwarding this way, okay? Now, I'm going to actually disable this for now. This is one way to do it. I'm going to disable this for now, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay. Now, the second way to integrate my account, right, and I think this is the better way, right, is check mail from other accounts. See that? So I'm going to add a mail account. So the last one we did was send as. So if I'm in this account and I reply, here, let's demonstrate that real quick. So if I'm, now this came to this address, right? So if I want to reply, notice I'm replying as me from City of Angels, even though I'm logged in with my USD21.org account. So now USD21.org, this account can send as City of Angels ICC.org account. Right? That's really important. If I want to keep continuity in my communication with someone, if I'm representing the City of Angels ICC, I want to make sure that my user, my email user, communicates with whatever business entity. It might be a venue, it might be a potential business to donate or something like that. I want to make sure that I'm consistently responding as Jeremy at cityofangelsicc.org, because in that relationship with that business entity, I represent City of Angels. My USD21.org account is set up for my staff interactions or interaction on a global scale or with other staff. It can be used for this sort of communication because it is a movement moniker, a movement identity, but this is much more precise if I'm dealing with other entities or other public-facing entities as City of Angels employee, volunteer, or representative. So, replying, sending as Jeremy at City of Angels. And so I'm going to send this here. So even though it's being sent from my USD21 email, because I have the send as set up, it's going to come into, my email is coming from me. If that makes sense. From cityofangelsicc.org. All right. So that's one way to handle things in terms of forwarding. Let me just get rid of this guy. All right, so now we're going to set it up to where we're actually sending as, not sending as, but we're checking the email on that server. So we configured send as, right? That's what we just tested and demonstrated. So even though I'm logged into my USD21 account, I can send as Jeremy at cityofangelsicc.org. Now we're going to check the email. So in this case, oops, this is a little bit, more complex. So it's going to ask us for some information, right? The username is the same as the email address. I'm sorry if that's confusing, but that's the same. The password is the one we've been using. Hopefully you've got it again off. I have mine off screen that I can copy and paste, right? Now it's giving me some information. It says pop server, port. Like, what is this stuff? Well, if you go back to the email, right? The introduction email, it sends you one that's called settings, right? Or client configuration settings. You see this one here? This is the one we're looking for. You should have this as part of your, they send these two emails to you when an account is set up, right? So you open this up, and then we have the mail client settings, right? Now I'm not going to handle this right now. We'll get to that another time. But for today, we're just concerned about this. So here's my incoming server and my outgoing server, and here's the ports. So I'm going to go back to this configuration here, right? And I'm going to make sure that I have this right. The port's 110. Is that right? No, it's not. Let's see. That's pop server. Oh, port 465 is the outgoing server. All right, let's go back to this port. Let's see. 465, 993, 995. So pop server is, okay, so I see. This says pop server, right? Right? And this over here says pop 3. It's server. So I know it's confusing, but pop server is the same as pop 3. It's just, they just rendered it differently. So that means my port is 995. So I'm going to go to 995. Now I got to determine, do I want to leave a copy of the message on the server? So in this case, what will happen is not only will the email come into my cityofangels.icc.org bucket and be on the cityofangels.icc.org server, I'll have a copy of that email there. When I check email from Google, and my Google account checks email, it'll pull a copy. And so I have it in two places. Now, although that's useful in some cases, like, for example, if you work for the legal department, or if you do a lot of administrative work, like if you're an administrator for a church and you want to make sure that you have a good paper trail, it's totally wise to click leave a copy on the server. If you have a role that would demand a thorough paper trail. If you're just soliciting donations or working as a volunteer, chances are you don't need to leave a copy of the retrieve message on the server. So what will happen in this case, if you deselect this, right? When you get an email to your City of Angels ICC.org account, and then you check it from your phone, or in this case from your desktop, and your other account, in this case my USD21 account, checks that email, it's going to pull it off of there, and the email's not going to be in that bucket anymore. It's only going to exist in your preferred account, in this case, my USD21 account. So, for example purposes today, I'm going to leave a copy of the message on the server, right? And it asks, do I always want to use SSL retrieving mail, right? Well, let me make sure I know what this is about here. Let me see. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, this is walking through the instructions, which will be referenced in this. Okay. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work, we'll come back and sort it out. Label incoming messages. I do want to label them because I want to know they came from this account at first glance. And I'm not going to archive that account. So while it's thinking, oh, I am in a different spot here. So I'm going to go here. Okay, so this is what I was looking at. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this account and I'm going to send it. So I'm going to send it to Jeremy at usd21.org. Okay. No. Oops. Jeremy at cityofangelsiCC.org. Okay. There we go. Testing, checking from Gmail account. Oops. From Gmail. usd20.org. Google account. Testing. So, poof. So now I go back here to my inbox, and I'm going to refresh here, see if it sends it to me. Updates. Okay. Okay, this is good. Send me. Okay, this is happening because I forwarded it. Yeah, all right. Primary. Boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Okay. Okay. Might have ended up in spam. I doubt it, though. That would be weird. No. Let's see. Okay, forward testing. That's all done. Inbox. Okay. So this I should get in my Gmail box. So the fact that I'm not getting it is a little concerning. Okay. Here we are. Okay, so I opted to label it, remember, to City of Angels. So I opted in my thing to label it. And so what's happening is now it's showing up here. Yeah, so I'm getting it. But I did opt to leave a copy on the server. So when I go here, I'm still going to stay here, right? But most of us probably won't need to do that. Now, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this here, this, right? I'm going to edit this info, and I'm going to leave a copy on the server. Okay, so now what's going to happen is instead of email staying on the server, oops, oh, I forgot to put my password. Oops, okay, copy. Boom, save. So instead of, uh-oh. What's it say? Okay, password, boom. It's because I didn't select the right port. I don't know if you remember, but in the configuration, right, your new account, configuration settings, I had the wrong port selected. It's supposed to be port 995. And the reason it was giving me an error is because I didn't change. It was just default as 1110. So now that I have 995, this should work fine. And it did. So I'm recording these mistakes and missteps because I think some of you might have them yourselves. Because if I have them, I'm sure you'll have them. And at least you see how to work around them and the things to look at to sort them out. In any case, let's get to testing this. So what the behavior we expect is, here's my City of Angels ICC account. This is the webmail I use. And when I send an email to this, right, my Gmail account is going to take that email off of the server. It's not going to show up here. It's going to bounce in and then be sucked right back out into my USD21 account. So I'm going to send, again, another, so Jeremy at City, this one, okay. And then subject is testing Jeremy at USD21 is a Google account. Pulling email out of inbox, removing it, and into USD20.org inbox. So goes in and gets pulled out. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, why do this? In a word, you want to save space, right? And secondly, you want to keep everything centralized. To me, that's why you would do it this way. Why you would set it up to not leave a copy of messages. So let's do that. Poof. So now it's going to cityofangelsicc.org, my account. It's going to get there. And then what's going to happen is when I check for this, right? So this is just the regular from. When I check for this, when it eventually shows up, what's going to happen is it's not going to be in there, right? See if anything came through. Checking from. Let's refresh this. Come on now. You can do it. It does take some time for things to go through. Okay? It does take some time. Okay. Show. Okay. Boom. Inbox. Alrighty. Okay. Google account, testing, forwarding. Okay. Okay, so this should be pulled off of the server. So now the email we're testing has come in, right? And it should be pulled out of the server once I check again. Oh, it came through. Okay, so now this should not be, will not stay on the server. See, it's gone. So what happened was it got delivered. It took a little time. But it got delivered to the City of Angels account. It was sitting there. And then I've configured my USD21 email account, right, to grab this email and pull it to USD21.org, taking it off of the server. So what this does is it saves a lot of space, right? And like I said, unless you're doing something with a lot of vital paperwork, or if you're concerned about like having a paper trail, like if you work for legal or something, then I can see setting this up to leave a copy of the email on the City of Angels ICC.org server. So this is how we can solve it, right? Another way to solve it, and this is the easiest, by far the easiest, is to tell us, the systems administration team for the City of Angels, I would just like to have a server forward, right? Just have the server forward my email from City of Angels to this account, whether it's a Gmail account or a USD21 email account or what have you. That's probably the simplest way to do it. And that's done through an interface on our side where you don't have to worry about webmail and you don't really touch any of this. And simply what happens is email is sent to your City of Angels ICC.org account, and then it doesn't really connect with anything on the City of Angels ICC system like we've demonstrated, and it just gets bounced straight towards your USD21.org or whatever account that you'd prefer. This is by far the simplest way to do it. I wanted to show you this method, though, for some of us who want to get into the weeds or understand how to use this system. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me directly or to our team, and we'll help you set